All right, man, peace. So, brothers, it's all starting to come out of the woodwork now. Mr. Stephen A. Smith is going to bring forth a revelation that is going to truly convey how LeBron James views his so-called good friend Carmelo Anthony. Stephen A. Smith is going to relate a series of events in which LeBron James had a chance to acquire Carmelo Anthony's services on more than one team that he was on. And Stephen A. Smith is going to give us the result. And in addition to that, Mr. Max Kellerman is going to advise Carmelo Anthony on where he may be able to find a roster spot. So, of course, they're going to talk about it. I'm going to chime in.
With no ongoing discussions about Carmelo Anthony rejoining the Rockets, his representatives spent Monday gathering information from NBA front offices about a potential landing spot for him. Sources telling our Adrian Wojnarowski, barring a change of direction, the Rockets are moving towards waiving Carmelo in the near future, according to sources. Stephen, what's the best landing spot for him at this point?
The best landing spot for his ass is his living room couch. That's his best landing spot because he needs to retire for real.
My personal opinion, Max, is I think it would be the Philadelphia 76ers who really don't have a bench right now.
I have no idea why so many of these NBA media pundits keep trying to force Carmelo Anthony on the Philadelphia 76ers, unless they're trying to make the Philadelphia 76ers the Eastern Conference version of the Los Angeles Lakers. They're just trying to create some team where there's going to be a whole bunch of theatrics going on. Can you imagine a team with Carmelo Anthony, Joel Embiid, and Jimmy Butler? Oh, my goodness.
You'll probably have T.J. McConnell and just Muscala coming off the bench, since your starting five is going to be Butler, Redick, Simmons, Embiid, and probably Wilson Chandler.
Stephen A. Smith, let me ask you a question. Carmelo Anthony is a player who's been in the NBA for 15 years now. He's shown a severe lack of self-awareness. He struggled with the prospect of coming off of the bench for the Oklahoma City Thunder and even for the Houston Rockets. Of course, it seems as though he finally accepted his role as the sixth man on the Houston Rockets, but I suspect that they told him that they were going to move him further down the bench, and he decided that he would just rather get his walking papers. So what in the hell makes you think that he's going to go to the Philadelphia 76ers and take a bench role cheerfully? I think that eventually he's going to have to come to terms with the fact that no matter where he goes, he's going to be considered a bench player. But I don't think that he's going to accept that with the Philadelphia 76ers, especially a team that offensively struggles from the perimeter. He still thinks that he can shoot as well as anybody in the NBA.
But I must confess to you, Max, that there's a lot of people that feel the way that you feel. They say that the word out on Melo, if you look at the research, the last 3 years or so, teams have been better without him on the court than they...
Wow. Now, did you hear what Stephen A. Smith just stated? Because what he stated was really loaded and very revealing when it comes to the fanboy mentality. Stephen A. Smith stated that there are people out there, Max Kellerman, who feel, quote unquote, how you feel. That when you look at the research tells you that teams are actually better when Carmelo Anthony is not on the floor. My question for Stephen A. Smith would be, if the research shows that your team is better when Carmelo Anthony is not on your team or not on the floor than it is when he is on the floor and on your team, how could you classify that as a feeling? Clearly, it's not a feeling, it's a fact. But because Stephen A. Smith is leading with his emotions, he's associating real research and empirical data as a feeling, because he's somebody who wants to lead with the so-called eye test and with his perceptions, his personal assertions, as opposed to data. And I think that there's a place for both, because data has to be read and understood in proper context. But anybody who knows what they're looking at can tell that Carmelo Anthony is no longer an effective NBA player. He's just not.
And they've been with him on the court. And so
I'm going to rewind this back.
As a result, if you look at the research, the last 3 years or so, teams have been better without him on the court than they've been with him on the court.
I could have told you that. I didn't even have to see the data. Just by watching Carmelo Anthony, I could tell that any team will be better without him than with him. Because what really can he do out there on the floor? He doesn't rebound, he doesn't pass, he doesn't defend, and he no longer makes his jump shot. So what use is he, Stephen A. Smith?
And so as a result, when you consider that combined with the combustible egos that are in the locker room with Butler, Embiid, etc. It's a long shot that Melo would be landing in Philadelphia.
So Stephen A. Smith, if by your own observations the Philadelphia 76ers are filled with combustible personalities, why would you advise them to sign Carmelo Anthony?
They probably don't want him right now.
Probably, or they don't want him.
According to what I'm told. But that's what I think would be the best situation for him.
Well, Stephen A. Smith, that's why you work for ESPN and not for an NBA team. I would love to see you have a job as an NBA general manager because it will be grand opening and grand closing on the same day. I promise you that. You get hired and fired on the same day. Your dumbass will start working as a GM and you say, you know what I think? I think we should bring in Melo. Have him start as shooting guard and he can play the point because he can still get you 30. Be like, you know what, Steve? This is not going to work out. Why don't you pack up your shit and get out?
If you want to make it about Melo to see if he has anything left, the Lakers maybe, because LeBron will find out. And
there's another idiot. The Lakers should bring up Carmelo Anthony because LeBron will find out if Carmelo Anthony has anything left. Because that's why LeBron James is playing basketball, so that he can be utilized as a litmus test to establish who can still play.
And also, Ingram and Lonzo, you figure, would be packaged at some point for a star player. What if they had to throw in Kuzma? Now they need the bodies, someone to play the four or someone to play a forward position.
Oh, absolutely. That's definitely what their game plan should be. Trade away 22-year-old live bodies and bring in Carmelo Anthony, because those live bodies are going to be exchanged for a superstar. And that's what's going to work. Package 2 or 3 of your young stars, a couple of draft picks for an Anthony Davis, and then it's going to be Anthony Davis, LeBron James, and a broke-down Carmelo Anthony. Good luck with that, sir. But, I forgot. LeBron James could make anything. He could turn any piece of shit into a piece of sugar, right? I got you.
But even that, look, if you want him to be a catch-and-shoot bomber from 3, he's 31% on those shots this year. League average.
Max Kellerman, I have news for you. If you want Carmelo Anthony to be anything, you're a damn fool. Because any shot that you bring up is going to be a very poor percentage.
The average is 37%, and he's a terrible defender. So the real answer to the question, if it's not about Carmelo, if it's about where he can have value, is China. Like, where should...
Now they're trying to pass Carmelo Anthony on to China. Oh, man, I would love to see those negotiations. Carmelo Anthony's agent call up one of these Chinese teams. Hello. They'd be like, hello? Yes. How can we help you? This is Carmelo Anthony's agent. Who? Carmelo Anthony's agent. Click. Oh, man. I would love to see when those teams pick up Carmelo. Have Carmelo playing for the Shanghai Orangutans or some shit. You see his highlights on ESPN. Number 99 for the Shanghai Orangutans, Carmelo Anthony. Still getting his shot blocked. Oh shit, Jimmy Fredette just slammed it in Carmelo's face. Stephon Marbury crossing up Melo.
Where should Carmelo be playing? In China. Yeah, it's a huge market and he'd be a big star.
In all seriousness, though, that's not a bad idea.
Max, I got something that's going to make you sick to your stomach to end the show.
Yeah.
He wasn't, if I was told by an executive in the league that if LeBron wanted him in Cleveland last year, he would have been there.
Well, no shit. I've been saying for the longest time that LeBron James does not want to play with Carmelo Anthony. In 2018, going into 2019, Carmelo Anthony's style of play, his physical conditioning, his outlook on the game of basketball is just not conducive to winning at all. At all. This dude is still trying to live off of what he was doing 10 years ago. He reminds me of Whitney Houston when she was going through her crack issues, still trying to hit high notes. It's done. It's over. And it was just very obvious to me that LeBron James does not want that problem on his hands. At the end of the day, you're good enough to be on the banana boat, but you're not good enough to play with me. You're just not. And that's why he was very, very conspicuous in his absence when Carmelo Anthony's former teammate Chris Paul stated that Carmelo Anthony's a Hall of Famer, and then D. Wade sends out a tweet about how the Houston Rockets are trying to blame Melo. And you don't hear anything of substance from LeBron James. Why is that? Because LeBron James knows that if he writes a paragraph-long essay about how great Carmelo Anthony is and how he's been done wrong, the first thing that the media is going to do is say, much like what Max Kellerman just said, well, LeBron James, if you feel like Carmelo Anthony has so much value, why don't you advise Magic Johnson and Rob Pelinka to sign him? And LeBron already knows that there is nothing that Carmelo Anthony can do to help his team or any other team in the NBA.
But apparently I was also told he had an opportunity to be in LA this summer. But he had to commit to working hard and a willingness to come off the bench. And he never returned their call.
Well, that was shrewd, Carmelo.
Wow. Well, you know what? That's not really a surprise. Number one, I already knew that Carmelo was out of shape. When they showed that photo of them on the beach and he had on a hoodie, talking about the reason why he has a hoodie on the beach is because the beach was so hot that the hood was making him cooler. It was obviously because he had a big belly and he did not want to be photographed. It is what it is. But either way, I think that Carmelo Anthony said to himself, if I go and sign with the Lakers now, it's going to look like I'm trying to jump on LeBron's back. It's better for me to go to the Rockets and team up with one of my banana boat buddies who still does not have a ring and whose team was more successful last year than the Lakers were. So it actually made more sense for Carmelo to go sign with the Rockets. But we know that one of the main reasons why he'd never work with LeBron is because he's not willing to commit to being fully conditioned.
Max said China. Wow.
He's a big star. There's money to be made there.
I agree. I actually agree with Max Kellerman there in all seriousness. Even though I was joking around, I agree that Carmelo Anthony should consider Southeast Asia. The Philippines, China. He can also consider Australia, parts of Europe. They have various leagues out there, the Middle East, that he can go to. But anyway, nothing really that is starting to come out about Carmelo Anthony is starting to surprise me at all. Not even a little bit. You can see that Stephen A. Smith is kind of resigning himself to the fact that he can no longer protect Carmelo Anthony. So peace.